Hello, good afternoon. How is everybody today? Let's see who's here. Well, it looks like I'm here. Oh, Jem, how are you? John Smith, Susan B. Glad people could make it. Oh, boss lady's texting me. She's coming. She had to restart her computer. So happy Wednesday afternoon to everybody. Well, it's Wednesday afternoon to me. I'm sure it's evening and nighttime. Where are you, Jem? You're at night now, right? You're at like midnight, aren't you? Something like that. So I made some new emojis. That was my big accomplishment for the day. So yeah, Sarah Boone has been up to things. She's got her appeal in. Hi, Cappy. She's got her appeal brief in, and she has written a letter to. You can see Cappy. You see apples in the emoticons I made there. And the little heart is a photograph I took of a heart that somebody else made out of flower petals in the grass. So I liked it and took a picture of it, and I thought we could all share it. I'm not feeling super inspired about emojis, so if anybody has any thoughts, do please share. Yeah, and so Sarah also wrote a letter to Judge Jackson explaining that Judge Jackson's math was not correct. And that Sarah is expecting a good deal more money than what she got to begin with. So I'm feeling a little low energy, so I thought we would start with the phone call, and we'll see where we get to. He's getting to be a senior now. He's Cappy says, I noticed apples right away. He looks like my old man that I adopted as a senior. Yeah, I adopted him as a pup, and he's 11 now, but his diabetes, hi boss lady, his diabetes has prematurely aged him, sadly. And also beagles, he's part beagle, and beagles don't live long lives. Hi, Ruth Ann. Especially from what I have read. So I try very hard not to think about the day that's going to come when he will cross the Rainbow Bridge, because I literally cannot handle even thinking about it. So I'm sure many of you can relate. So yeah, I just want to say, which I should say always at the beginning of this, is that I don't have any particular credentials. These are just my opinions. This is just for entertainment. I'm just an English major. Or no, I'm not an English major anymore. I have an English degree, and I am an ex-mechanic, and those are that and the toxic people in my life are my credentials for this. So I do feel we are coming to the end with Sarah. It feels like I don't think that she is going to get her appeal. And I don't think that the judge is necessarily going to say, oh, my mistake, here, have a whole bunch more money. I just don't really see that happening. Hi, Liza Lou. Nice to see you, this old troll. Great screen name. I like that. Yeah. So, I just thought I would start with the video because I am feeling a little low energy, and it's... I don't know what it is. I haven't heard it yet, so we don't know. It could be terrible and annoying, but maybe it'll be all right. I'm sure it'll be terrible and annoying. That's my guess. So I think it's going to be annoying. Yes, boss lady, I do. Got my thinking cap on today. So yeah, I don't think she's going to win her appeal. No, and I don't think she's going to get any more money out of Brian. No, I think she's kind of just about at the end of whatever. She's going to have to settle down into life in prison. All right, so here we go. I'm going to let it play for a few minutes, and here we go.
Welcome back to the Boondoggle Tapes, a collection of recorded phone calls, emails, and journal entries of Sarah Boone, convicted of murdering her fiancé by zipping him up in a suitcase and leaving him to die. The Boondoggle tapes may be disturbing to some listeners. Viewer discretion is advised. Today's episode takes place on August 8th, 2025, with Sarah discussing her free help, her appeal, and a court TV opportunity. Let's dive in.
An inmate at a Florida Department of Corrections institution.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right. It's the things I could tell you. That's all I'm going to say. Are you okay?
All the things I could tell you. It's made me think of that Dr. Seuss book, The Things You Can Think. Sarah Boone would make a great. You could do an adult, an adult Dr. Seuss book about Sarah.
I'm good.
Okay, so I don't think I'm going to get a full phone call, which I'm pretty sure you've got 5 bazillion other things that you have to do because the warden is about to come through our dorm. But so if I may, please, I've been working with Nicole for the past 2 weeks. Like this week has been very urgent because you know that I had a 10-day deadline to submit these documents, and I'm down to only 2. I have these documents done. I just have to. I was sending them to Nicole to try to see what she can do to save it as a PDF or whatever else it is. And I've been trying to get a hold of her probably for like 4 days now. And I call her like 8 times a day. There's no way that.
That's interesting. I think in the last call, he had been AWOL for 4 days, hadn't he? And she hadn't been able to get in touch with him. Wasn't that the case? I get the feeling that people just need a break from her, right? And they just have to go radio silent in order to cope.
That I can't wait anymore. And I could have already had it there if she would have been corresponding with me the way that she was supposed to be. So I didn't know if it was okay with you. They're not long.
Did you catch that? The way that she was supposed to be. Like Nicole is supposed to be doing all of this stuff for her. I mean, I suppose if she agreed to do it, then that does fall under supposed to, but she just sounds so ungrateful all the time.
Documents. Can I just send them to you?
What are you asking me to do? I'm sorry.
Because I know that you are going to send them overnight, 2-day, or whatever else it is that you're going to do so I can beat this 10-day deadline. My cross notice, which I have to submit in order for my motion for contempt of the visitation applications, and then my motion for transport, I have to submit those like yesterday, and she hasn't.
And Nicole's not writing you? Okay.
Yesterday I called her 8 times.
Okay. I don't know why she's not calling.
You see, right? Yesterday I called her 8 times. Like, God. Like, oh my God. I am starting to lose interest in Sarah, honestly. I don't find, I was just saying not long ago, she's the woman you love to hate, but I don't even love hating her anymore. I'm just, 8 times, Ruthann, exactly, right? Like, holy smokes. Hi, Ms. Jamie88, nice to see you. Yeah, like, gosh, she just must wear people down. She's worn me down. That's how I feel. I feel worn down by her. Even listening to these calls is exhausting. Never mind being the person on the other end of the phone. God.
My friend is very, very sick. He's got cancer and he's dying. So I'm actually at his house. And yeah, so
Oh, Sarah's sad because that means that he's not going to have enough attention for her. I think that's it. Boss Lady. Boss Lady says Sarah has become very predictable. I think that's it. I think there's no more surprises left. Right? We all predicted that she was going to write the letter to Judge Jackson, and lo and behold, it showed up, right? I think you're spot on there, Boss Lady.
I'm really not able to help with that right now, but maybe tonight. I mean, can you just send me what you need me to send?
They're not long.
Okay, so what do you need me to do? Print them and mail them?
Please, because I knew that you were going to mail them, but I wasn't planning on me actually just sending you the documents like I normally do, because I've sent them to her, but she's not sent them in a PDF format, so all you had to do was print. So however it is you do, like you have in the past, one of them's like 1 paragraph. One of them is a certificate of service. They're just like the motion for transport and then my motion for contempt, which I think you actually already have. So if you could please, yes, just print them and send them to this judge.
Okay. Yeah, if you email everything you want me to just print off and I'll send it. Honestly, I'm not sure I'll do my best to format it, but I don't know if I have like the time to make it perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just I have to. I just don't know why she's not responding to me, and I hope that she's okay. But like, all she had to do was send it back to me in a PDF file. That's just my only thing.
Oh gosh, she's just so exhausting, right? You guys are talking about Gannon Stout being found, hey? Yeah, Kathy Benedero, her voice is so phony. All she cares about in this whole thing is what's going to happen for her, right? He's literally just told her that he's staying with his friend who is currently like, it's like basically hospice care for a friend of his who is, losing his battle with cancer. And she's like, yeah, it's so awful for me. She's so exhausting. Yeah, maybe if you didn't call her 11 billion times, they don't have this concept, these people.
Okay.
I'm scared. But with you telling me that, and I understand, Peter, I do, and I'm very sorry that you are having to deal with this, and your friend also. But
oh, she had a little moment of like, holy shit, I better show some appreciation. It is extremely hard to believe that Letitia will have another trial, Susan. Actually, to me, what's extremely hard to believe is that they allowed that juror in the first place, because who wouldn't go for an appeal based on that, based on the fact that the juror was, I can't even remember what it is now. The juror was working in the same district attorney's office as the district attorney that was trying her case. So that's what I find hard to believe. It seems very, very, I think that's a very good insight, Hannah. Nice to see you. Yeah, and I think that's what's about to come. That's what's coming down the pike for her, right? She thought that she had it so bad. With all the YouTubers and everybody, all the rest of it. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Cappy, everybody. Hannah, Gemma, Susan. She's going to find it a lot harder when everybody has forgotten about her, I think. But I think that's what's headed this way. I don't think she's getting any. She's not gonna get any. I don't think Judge Kranick would have allowed anything as egregious as that stupid juror mistake that happened in the Letitia Stout case.
When you sent me my
and also, did you know, Boss Lady? I'm sure you do, that the Caleb Flynn case has been postponed again now for another 21 days.
Pretrial statement. Thank you for that. It's all one gigantic document. It's one gigantic document. So is that what it's going to look like if you send it the way that you do, just by printing it?
No, that's not how it gets sent to the judge.
Okay.
I said that in the beginning of the email. I said, don't worry, this is not how it goes to the judge. But in order for me to get it all to you in one quick way,
consolidate it, yes.
I just, kind of grabbed it and pasted it in and sent it.
Yes, thank you for doing that. So for the 3 documents, the little documents that I send to you, will they be like that?
Will what be like what?
If I send you the 3 documents, will they come out like that pretrial statement, or you said you'll just do your darndest to do whatever you can with the format?
They won't look like that. No,
Okay,
I'll copy them and paste them in, so there'll be some formatting. When I pasted all that stuff in, it was just to get everything to you quickly. I just didn't.
Didn't he already say that he would do the best he could? I think he already said that. He said after he said, I'm staying with my friend who is literally in hospice care. So yeah, she just has to push the envelope. This is the most recent one that has been released on YouTube, Gem. I think that they release things a little sooner on their Patreon, and then they get released here a little bit later. But I am not subscribe to their Patreon. So
that way.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, so one of the documents is my cross notice, and just so you are aware, I consolidated the certificate of service on the same page, which is fine because Martel did the same thing for one of their documents. So I've got the cross notice and the certificate of service on one page. It's just, that's one page, and then my motion for transport, I think it's like maybe 2 or 3 pages, and then you've got...
But like, who cares? Right? I just don't know what the point of this is. This is just to wear him down. I mean, he's going to get the documents, right? He's going to do the best that he can with them. They've been doing this for months now. He obviously knows what's needed. It's just that me neediness that makes her do this, in spite of the fact that she's using up what few stores of energy it sounds like he has. So they just, they're just so desperate for that attention that they end up shooting themselves in the foot half the time because of this kind of thing.
Got my motion for contempt regarding the visitation, but do you want me to resend it so they're just back to back to back? And you don't have to search for it?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. Say it again.
You have my motion for contempt and to compel for the visitation applications. Do you want me to resend it so you don't have to research for it and you can just have all 3 of the documents that I need to have printed?
I think what he wants is for you to shut up, Sarah. Shut up and get off the phone and leave him to it. I'm just guessing. Even though I have serious issues with this man, I still feel for him when she's doing this to him. Hi, Sparky Pilot.
Just send me everything with instructions on what you need me to do, and I'm going to get to it tonight. But keep calling Nicole.
I am.
Because I don't know what's going to. I mean, he's nearing the end here, so
he's passing the buck over to Nicole. Please keep calling Nicole. Please keep trying. I don't care if you have to phone her 16 times a day. Please, I'm begging you.
I'm kind of on standby with everything, so I'm kind of stuck here depending on what happens.
Yes.
So,
she does this. This is what I was saying. Michelle DeMattis is saying the way Sarah speaks and that what she thinks is upper crust inflection in her voice is so disgusting. I feel like I was saying about Megan, that she does this this super pretentious thing of having to say somebody gifted her something and her former spouse and that sort of thing. And it's very typical of these people to try to sound, they think it makes them sound smarter when it just makes them sound like they think they're better than you, which, I mean, they do. So, but yes, good observation.
Before I called you, that was my 7th time. And, right now, technically, it's in the middle of the night for her over there. And I just didn't care because I haven't talked to her in, 4 days. Probably about 32.
Did you catch that? It's the middle of the night over there, but I don't care because she hasn't answered her phone in 4 days. And so I'm just going to phone her up in the middle of the night because F her, I guess, because she owes her something. Michelle DeMattis says Nicole has blocked her number. She says that it does not ring and goes right to voicemail for 4 days, 8 times a day. Girl, you're blocked. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she received any more calls after this. I think she may have, but I mean, you could be temporarily blocked, right? People need a break. My God, like they just don't know what they're like. They just don't know what they're like.
Oh. So I don't know if her American number's been disconnected or what's going on. I have no idea. So you were my last resort to call to ask if I could just send it to you because I know my deadline that I have.
Oh, did you catch that little manipulation there? Oh, you're my last resort. Oh, I just needed, you're just my last resort. I'm so sorry. But there's nobody else I can ask.
And I'm trying to do whatever it is I can to abide by the orders.
Okay. Well, when you send me that stuff, I'll grab it, I'll print it, I'll drop it in the mail, and then you should be good to go. But hopefully I can get that in the mail tomorrow. And then if not, then the next day. But I mean, obviously keep trying Nicole and we'll go from there.
Yeah, because I mean, she can't mail it either one way or another. So that's, that's why, like, I waited almost to the last minute because I was like, well, at least he can at least 2-day it or whatever it is, however you do it, and then know for a fact that you'll have tracking too, so we know when it actually gets there. So thank you.
Everybody's over in the chat.
No problem.
I hope you know, Peter, that I try not to bother you, and
Sorry, I was saying everybody's over in the chat talking about their heritage because Sarah is so boring. We can't even pay attention to her.
try to do whatever it is I can through whoever else. But, like, I'm so damn tired of this. I'm so tired of this. And, like, don't get me wrong, and I love Nicole, and she knows it, and she keeps telling me to stop thanking her so much. But I am so grateful for her. But then it's like, it comes down to the wire like this, and I can't live my life like this. I just
Well, Sarah, I don't really think that's on Nicole. I really don't. I think that might be on you.
want to get it in, get it done, and I could have done it however many days ago, but I've been waiting for her. So I just...
And also, like, what does she think that he has this energy to listen to her complaining? Like, the whole point of this call, ostensibly, right, is to make sure that this stuff gets done. And he agreed literally in the first minute of the call that he would do it. And so it's been going on for how long? It's another 7 minutes of her just complaining and asking the same question again and talking about her needs and how ungrateful she is and how terrible everybody is to her and all that kind of stuff. And he's already, like, he's literally at his friend's house who is in hospice care. The thing about these people that's so amazing is that we continue to be shocked by them, but it's just the lack of self-awareness is just so stunning.
Know that, okay?
Yeah, no, I know. I get it.
I don't get it.
She's
like, I don't know why.
She's got a shit going on in her life.
Well, I think her American number may have gotten disconnected, so I don't know for that for sure.
What?
It's not that she has shit going on in her life or that she has boundaries or that she's tired of your shit. It's that her number got disconnected. Yeah, that must be it, Sarah.
Is it saying it's
I probably called 30 times.
Is it saying it's disconnected?
No, it doesn't tell me anything. It just goes to voicemail. Like, it'll ring and ring and ring like a normal phone call, but then it goes to voicemail. And then she said, sometimes I hear it, sometimes I don't hear it. And I said, well, can you just walk around with your phone in your pocket or, whatever else it is you're doing? Just, if you don't mind, because she and I know to call each other at like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Do you mind just keeping your phone on yourself, on your person all the time so I can get a hold of you 24/7, wherever I feel like it, even in the middle of the night? Would you mind, please?
Morning, because that's her time over there at nighttime when Lucas is asleep. Her Lucas is asleep, and she can get on the computer and the phone with me. And then it's mine first thing in the morning, and everybody's out of the dorm, and I can utilize her. So that's why I don't understand. Just keep your phone with you in the morning, and I just don't know what the disconnect is, like, literally.
She doesn't know what the disconnect is, like, literally. Zero self-awareness. No awareness whatsoever that Nicole has set a boundary with her, because you have to set a boundary with people like Sarah. She's insane. Honestly, I mean, oh God, I don't even think she is insane. She's not insane. She's just disordered. Just deeply, deeply disordered.
So I'm sorry, but I had to call you.
I don't know what the disconnect is either, but I'm sure that, something's going on. But yeah, so if you just email me that stuff when I can get to the post office, I definitely will.
Okay, I'm going back and I'm going to send you right now, because it's just been sitting in my draft motions, my cross notice and the motion to attach with it. I'll send you the instructions, but the cross notice has to go with the motion for contempt. But I'll put that together for you, and then just my motion for transport.
Okay. I thought they weren't transporting you.
They weren't transporting me. And to be honest with you, Peter,
yeah, I mean, it is a disorder, right? This is why it's narcissistic personality disorder. And Sarah is deeply disordered, right? There's like 9 traits, narcissistic traits, and you have to have 4 of them to be diagnosed. close to, I mean, she doesn't have all of them. She's got it 7 or 8 at the very least. She is deeply disordered in every single thing that she does. There is never a time when she is not behaving from the disorder, right? That's where she acts from.
If you're asking me, I'm so torn between this. Like, I'm hoping, okay, I don't want to be transported, but I do want to be transported. If I do get transported, of course I am in the courtroom and it's a completely different experience. If I'm not in the courtroom, I save my bed, I save my position in the program, I save everything here. And don't get me wrong, and alimony are worth, uprooting and so on and so forth. For no doubt, no question. But my thing is, though, for me to have to go all the way to county jail, all this and everything, and I think right now at this point, because it has to be scheduled so.
I mean, I think Mary's saying, couldn't you say a disorder is an illness, therefore mental illness? It is a mental illness, but it's not a mental illness in the same way like, the schizophrenia or people who experience a psychotic break, or people who have dissociative identity disorder or something like that. Those people cannot help themselves. These people can. They make choices. All you got to do is put them in front of a cop and their behavior changes. That's how you can tell the difference, right? So in terms of being able to kind of make an insanity plea or whatever, it's not a mental illness in that way, right? But it's in the DSM-5, so it's definitely considered a mental illness, but not in the same way as, Sarah makes choices to do the things that she does, right? She made a choice to leave George in that suitcase. She made a choice to zip him up in the first place. Well, I feel like the whole thing is gross. I don't have much in the way of good things to say about Peter. It seems like at this point he is just, this is August last year, right? These phone calls don't necessarily come in order, so we're not going in order to the time up until the time that they break up their friendship. But yeah, I mean, I have some pretty hard feelings about Peter's whole involvement with this. I feel like he literally was providing aid and comfort to the enemy, right? This woman is a murderer. And for whatever reason, he thought that he could go in there and like, with what? It reminds me of Megan and her, oh, I'm a life coach now, right? Like, what the fuck did you think you were going to do? What qualifications do you have, right, to deal with this woman? And while you're like, oh, if we thought that if we offered her trust, she would tell the truth. Like, first of all, why should she trust you when you're lying to her? And second of all, like, what made you think that you had the qualifications to deal with this woman? I have no idea. And in the meantime, what about George's family? How do you think they feel about you sending her things and being nice to her on the phone and doing all the work for her and helping her to try to screw Brian and squeeze every penny out of his house, out of his household? Like, who do you think you are? What right do you have to do those things? And now coming over here, pretending that this is all about opening up conversations about mental health? Spare me. I haven't heard anything from these guys in terms of conversations about mental health. All I've seen is them putting up these videos and making the occasional, editorial comment, snarky little editorial comment that to benefit themselves and act like, oh, Sarah's this terrible person. Like, yeah, no shit, dude. Who did you think you were dealing with? So yes, that's how I feel about that, Susan. Thank you for asking. I feel like Peter has a lot to answer for him.
So far in advance, I think I'm past the point of even having the possibility of being transported. So my thing is, with me sending this transport motion, I think if anything, it just shows my determination and eagerness to the judge and the world, and eventually Lucas. He'll see it also, or hear about it.
Oh my God. Um, I don't think they were playing hide and seek. I think that was a complete blind. So Jem is asking, do you think she dared him to get into the suitcase, or did she take advantage of him having hidden in there? I don't think he was hiding in there. I don't think the hide and go seek story is bullshit. How he got in there, I couldn't say, but I do believe that she had every intention of zipping the zipper up and beating him. And that's why she put him in there. I do believe that she did it on purpose. Exactly. If that's what he was interested in. And Mary's saying Peter could have done a documentary without ever interviewing her. Exactly. Right. He could have. And I can't get over the hubris. Like, what makes you think that you're going to fool this person into telling you the truth? I mean, my God, if he knew anything about narcissists, he would have known what he was getting himself into in the first place. The whole thing is absolutely absurd.
That it's a good faith effort, yet again, on my part, trying to be included in my case. So what are your thoughts?
I hear the conundrum, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
I would say if you can, I would go.
Yes, of course I would. If if it happened, then of course I would.
Yeah, I mean, if they want you to go, you're going to go. But I mean, I would, if I had a choice, I'd try and make every effort to go.
Yep. Okay, well, that's what my heart was telling me at the same time also. And
yeah, Gemma's asking, she beat him while he was in the suitcase? Yeah, she beat him with a baseball bat while he was in the suitcase. She also threw him down the stairs while he was in the suitcase. These things have not been proven in court, but those are my... Yes, I'm still talking. Can you guys not hear me? You should be able to hear me. Tell me you can hear me, please. What she admitted to, yeah, Cappy. She admitted in court, to poking him, that he was putting his hand out, that she was so afraid that he was going to get her, that she was poking him with the end of the bat. But he was completely covered. He was black and blue all over, covered in bruises. So good. I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you. Okay. So whoever can't hear me, I'm not sure what's going on, but it seems to be on your end. So yes, she's a vicious killer. She doesn't like to see herself that way. She likes to see herself as, a battered spouse who just, was hitting back at her abuser. But no, she's a vicious killer. I mean, what were her comments in one of these phone calls where she was like saying, "Oh, they've put me over in this dorm with like real murderers," or whatever. Like, she doesn't see herself that way. But yeah, that is what she did.
I would love to know also the court on its own motion. Why would you do that? And I don't know if it's because she was confused on how to do a transport order or what's going on or whatever else it is. I don't know why. Or if she doesn't want me in the courtroom because of the insanity of social media and everything that we've already forewarned them about.
I think that's what's happening. Like we talked about the last.
But she can't do that to me. I mean, Satan himself could show up at the front desk, the pulpit, it doesn't matter. You're infringing on my constitutional rights. That's what...
that nasally voice just really gets me, right? And the whole thing of like her constantly demanding her rights, like she's just the victim in every situation. It's just exhausting. God. Yeah, she's insane. And her letter to the judge, where she's complaining that the math didn't math and she's deserved a whole several many more thousands of dollars. She never once mentions that she didn't get what she wanted, RE visitation with her son. So, we know what she's in it for. And I would say that's not a terribly off the mark, Liza Lou. because she is extremely, like, it seems to me like it could have, not that she had planned it ahead of time, maybe, but that it got out of hand. And so that was how she handled it. I don't know. I can't claim to know, but I think a lot of people, I think the speculation is on point about a lot of it. Susan B says there was a cable show called Killer Cases with Scott and Chelsea last year, the two detectives. It was really good, maybe ID or Oxygen. I wish I could remember. I don't know. I don't have too many. I basically have YouTube and what do you call Prime Video.
It's so crazy. Like, so they're protecting themselves in one way or another?
Well, it's not really infringing on your constitutional rights, right? Because you have I hear what you're saying, trust me. But just to play devil's advocate, I mean,
Right. He realized after he disagreed with her that he had better dial that back a little bit because she was not going to take that well.
and they're going to say, we're giving her access to the court. She can dial in by phone. It's just too...
How am I supposed to submit my exhibit? That's what's crazy to me also, and be able to, like, real-time provide arguments and rebuttals.
Oh, I know. You could not murder your boyfriend and end up in prison for life. Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
How can I submit my exhibits? That's what's crazy to me. How can I submit my exhibits?
She is in prison for life for murdering her boyfriend, and she can't understand how she's supposed to submit her exhibits. Okay. Like, and whatever her exhibits are, they're about getting money out of that household and inflicting herself on an extremely regular basis on her son, who would be better off if he never had to talk to her ever again, in my opinion.
With no instruction, no permission of, anything, formally that I'm allowed to do without being sanctioned. It's wild to me. Like, it's either she's already made her mind up, and yes, they were in violation because the orders were active and they were court ordered however many times, and it's just here, give it to her. Or it's one of those things where it's just like, look, you're part of it, you're in it, that's how it's going to be. That's what makes me think it's either or.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even care about me going through all of this to try to get her my stack of exhibits that I'm fighting tooth and nail.
I think it's, I think that an argument can be made. Boss Lady says she wanted to kill George, but didn't expect any consequences and expected Brian to remain at her beck and call forever. I think I think that actually a case can be made that she planned it, because those videos, maybe she didn't plan it, but it's those videos on her phone where she is getting him to smash the TV and do all those things. Like, they're obvious, they're so clearly staged. And what was the purpose of them? Right? If it wasn't to bring them out in some kind of a defense. So, yeah, I'm not 100% on that, but I think that a case could be made for it.
For to get a copy of.
Do you ever talk to the law administration and the law library there and talk to them about getting you paper and pen and stamps and all that stuff?
I've sent 2 inmate request forms, and believe it or not, I actually had a 2-hour meeting today with Santiago. Oh man, she came out of the gate with horns and sharp teeth and claws and everything, thinking that I was mad at her over the DR.
Santiago is the corrections officer that was when Sarah got reprimanded for taking her tablet back to her cell or to her bunk, and she said that she had been given permission, and she said that Santiago had given her permission. And I also think Santiago's might be the I don't know what the position would be called, but might be the boss correction officer in where Sarah is, like the supervisor or whatever.
And I was like, look, I don't care about nothing. It's under the rug. Let's just go ahead and keep going forward, because you're still going to be my classifications officer, and I'm still going to be an inmate needing your help. So whatever it is, it's over and done with. So I think she wiped the sweat from her brow, and she wasn't even going to take me back to her office. But I said, do you have 10 minutes, please? Because no one else is helping me. And so I told her that I have put in let's see. I think I'm at 11 inmate request forms to the classifications department to view my USB. And of course, she points her finger at everybody else but herself, and gave me inmate request forms to send more to the law library. I'm already waiting for the law library to give me access to copies. That's priority right now. And I told her, I said, this USB at this point, which has already been paid for and you guys have almost had for 3 months, is obsolete.
Oh gosh, she's just this isn't even sped up. This is just her being full on. The Sparky pilot, what facility is she in? My line of work takes me to many different facilities around the country. She's at Lowell Correctional Institute in Florida. Where that is exactly, Boss Lady can probably tell us, right? You're near her, are you not, Boss Lady?
At this point, there's nothing that I could have applied. There's nothing now that I could have applied it to my pretrial conference, my pretrial statement, and now I'm getting ready to have it for trial, but I've already prepared without having any of it. She's like, yeah, you're right. So I still haven't, I've never gotten my USB access. And now I think I've got 37 exhibits, and it's just paper. She's like, well, they'll just put a lien against your account. I said, I don't care what they do. I just need an effing copy, and then I can send it to the courts, because I don't care if Martel gets a copy of it or not, and if the judge really wants him to have it.
Do you think she used the F word, really, when she was talking to Santiago? Do you think she was being that cocky? I mean, probably, right? She is pretty stupid. We've seen the way she talks to the judge. So Sparky Pilot designs corrections, security, and CCTV systems as part of your job. Cool. Well, if you ever get over there, you have to tell Sarah we all said, hey, Sarah, sucks to be you.
They can make a copy, like they've done a whole bunch of my other motions, and give it to themselves. I'm just concerned the court sees it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm almost 20 inmate request forms in with nothing to show for it, other than me sitting here waiting with a question mark over my head.
Yeah.
It's insanity. Like,
you're exactly right, Cappy says, I still kind of think that she thought that being difficult, everyone would get tired of her and drop the charges, because it's probably worked for her before. Yeah, absolutely. We have described her in the past as like she's the person that gets the refund at the store, even though she's not entitled to the refund, because it's easier just to give it to her than to listen to her go on and 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 complain. Yeah, I think you're exactly right.
I don't even know. It's not an insane asylum. It's not a circus. Like, I just can't even begin to describe it to you. And Miss Santiago just sat there and stared at me. Like, I was like, it's different because I'm the inmate and you get to go home at whatever, 4:30, 5 o'clock or whatever else it is. But she couldn't believe.
Yes. Now you're getting it, Sarah. You are in prison for the rest of your life. Good one. Was that self-awareness? It was not self-awareness. It was just her complaining about the fact that she doesn't get to go home at 4:30 from prison.
I believe that I still haven't seen my USB, and I was like, in my head, okay, because I keep sending them to you.
Wait a minute, Boss Lady. Are you sure about that? Boss Lady is saying that Corey has been denied the sentencing being delayed. I didn't watch it, but I saw an East Idaho news video with Nate Eaton, and the title of it was Corey's been given an extension. So I think maybe I didn't watch it, to be fair, but my understanding was that she was given an extension.
To request it, and then that Ryan hasn't still put in the visitation form. She still can't believe that, and everything else that I've been going through now is trying to get the copies from the law library.
Yeah, I think you just got to kind of keep asking, like they say, like the squeaky wheel gets oil first. Be careful with that, because you don't want to piss anybody off. And how many days do you have to your trial?
The 25th.
The 25th.
Today's what, the 8th?
Is the 8th. Okay. So you got like 2 weeks, roughly. A little more.
Right. And my exhibits are due to the court and to Martel.
That's really what you need to print off.
And my cross notice. Yes. Why, friend, forever? Do you think I'm calling you? Because I can't wait on Nicole anymore. This shit was supposed to be there like 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, boss lady. I must have just read it wrong because I just went and looked, and you are 100% correct. May 13th, Eric's birthday.
Okay, but the exhibits, neither Nicole can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right, you got to handle that. But we found a solution for the other stuff. You just got to send it to me. I'll print it off and drop it in the mail. I'm going to really try for tomorrow, but it all really depends on my friend's health. So if not, then it'll be the day after. But that kind of is what it is.
I understand.
Yeah, you got to get access to that freaking printer or the copy machine.
Yes. And if I'm able, okay, I'm wiping the sweat from my brow with you sending this for me. So thank you. Like, she'll have it Monday? Regardless of how you send it, what day you send it, it'll be there on Monday?
Yeah, it should be there by Monday.
Thank you. So look, that's off my plate. Okay, I don't have to worry about that. Now, yes, tomorrow is the last day of this week. If I have to show up there with all of my exhibits in hand and have them turn me away and threaten me with another DR because I'm standing there waiting for copies to be made after 3-4 inmate request forms, then so be it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I'm supposed to do, and that's where Santiago also instructed me to go also 2 more times. Just don't get it. If I got those copies done and out of here, I'm okay.
All right, so we have a plan. You're going to work on getting your copies. I'll look for that stuff that's coming in.
Going to go send it to you after I hang up. I have to write one of them on the tablet for you, but it's already handwritten, so all I got to do is just retype it.
All right, so then you retype that, send it to me. I'll drop that in the mail. We have not heard back from Court TV.
I figured. You would send me a message.
We're going to reach out again and see.
And let's just thank you.
And look, it's a big ask. Like, we're asking them to step out of their format and do something larger and more in depth. But, that's what you want and that's what you need.
I'm still determining, do we want to give them that? Do we want to give them that?
Do we want to what?
Do we want to give them that?
She's talking about giving Court TV the rights to her story of the battered spouse. Yeah, probably never. John Smith would be my guess. John Smith says, when will she get it through her head that she's not in charge of anything? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's going to be, she is going to have a hard time when, when the appeal is over and all the rest of it. She is going to really struggle in prison.
Like, with what it is that we have to offer, I mean, whoever we give this to, and it's actually...
Did you hear that? She's not sure she wants to give it to Court TV with what it is that we have to offer. Like, she really thinks that she's something, right? All that and a bag of chips, as they used to say. My God. She thinks she's holding all the cards and that she can, like, pick and choose among who she's going to allow to do her biography. My God.
Whoever we gift this to, they have to be, like, worthy and totally understanding of what our total take is going to be of this and also the impact that it's going to make. So whoever it's going to do, whoever we decide to do this with, it's going to make them big.
Whoever we get on board, when we sign up with somebody, these are documentary filmmakers, right? So they have, like, journalistic integrity. So that's really important.
She kind of has already, hasn't she? Boss Lady? Boss Lady says Sarah's going to write a tell-all books next. Watch. I mean, that's kind of the other thing that these guys put up on their YouTube channel, other than these phone calls, is the entries into Sarah's, journal, wherein she tells her story of the battered wife that led to the unfortunate death of George from self-defense. So, and she, like, didn't she trade that for their help? Right? They have that. That's theirs by rights because that was the agreement, right? Wasn't it? I mean, it's not exactly a tell-all. No, it's a pack of lies would be more accurate.
And they want to be signed up to the vision, and that's great. But once that happens, we don't really have a lot of control over that. That said, that's kind of.
I mean, you guys don't have any control over anything anyway. Who does he think he's kidding?
One of the reasons why I really like the YouTube option.
Yeah.
I think anything that's successful is relentlessly fair and unbiased, but at the very least, we kind of know what's being said.
It's ours and no one else's.
At this point, it's just kind of a matter of hitting that switch and doing it. I mean, it's going to take time to get the infrastructure and the people in place to.
That's in process, though, right?
What's up?
That's in process, though, right?
Yeah, it's in process. I mean, I just, we're just kind of waiting to hear back from Court TV and
One more.
exercising all these other avenues. But yes, to answer your question, all that other stuff is in motion. But once we decide to go that way, it's still going to take time.
I get it. That's fine. So let's exhaust Court TV because they either are or they're not. And if they are, then we want to know what their proposition is. And if we like it, great. If not, peace out, guys. Let's person.
I hear you. You also got to understand, no Court TV, not the YouTube channel, nobody gonna sign up to do a PR campaign for you.
Liza Lou says, how disappointed they must have been when they read her journal. Julian probably decided to give up once he saw it. I don't know anything about her journal because I just refuse to look at those videos because I feel so much like I don't want to share them on my channel because I feel so much like it's a pack of lies that she's telling lies about George and that he's not here to refute anything that she says. So I haven't actually looked at it. So I would be interested to hear what your opinion is about her journal, Liza Lou. If you are so inclined.
And I know that's not what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be fair. And even if we were to do our own YouTube channel, people are going to be fair and they're going to talk about the issues, which is a good thing, right? Get into the nitty gritty. I think that is the approach that needs to be had with a case like yours. And frankly, Sarah, I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
This is after she's already been found guilty, right? This is after all of the evidence came out in court. And he's over here going, a case like yours, Sarah. I mean, my God. Boss Lady says her tell-all book would be like an expansion of that atrocious speech she gave about the gold Kintusakori at her sentencing. Yeah, when she told the judge that he had black robe disease. Yeah, Jim, you're exactly right. Lack of remorse and entitlement is staggering, like with all of these toxic twats. Yeah, very much. Hello, Carolina Hurtado. Always nice to see you. Glad you could make it. We're just about at the end of this call, but you haven't really missed much. It's just Sarah being horrible again. I'm sure you must be shocked. Liza Lou says, the few that I have heard are just unbelievable lies, full of situations that just reasonably could not have happened. I gave up after 3 entries. Yeah, okay. That sounds basically like what I would expect. Thanks for letting me know about that, because, yeah, I feel like you're right. Okay, let's, what is it? Kinsukuroi. Thank you, Cappy. The black robe disease, right? Where he was so, arrogant, the arrogance of the judge. I will go to my grave admiring the way that he said that his entire response at the end of everything was to say life in prison without, life in prison. The court's in recess. It was my favorite part of the whole trial. I really thought that I was going to enjoy listening to him tear strips off her. But after listening to her letter, it was so clear. And maybe he had planned to, But after listening to that letter, it was so clear that anything that he might have said would have been completely pointless, right? It would have only been for the audience and not for her. And that to cut her off like that was what she deserved. And I think he did the right thing. I think he made the right choice by doing that. I am a huge Judge Cranick stan.
Yes, but I thought that I had to silence myself because that's what my appeal was for.
Of course, your appeal is you got to be kind of stay a little bit quiet because I think, right, I'm not an attorney again, but
that's what I thought. That's why I haven't been pushing y'all's buttons saying what's going on, let's do this.
Well, you want to be careful with your legal matters, right? You don't want to put any of that stuff in jeopardy, obviously, but the appeal is.
Hannah Dockrell says, I predicted that he would respond as he did because he had her number. Yeah, good one. I think it was absolutely the right choice, and I didn't anticipate it, and it was like I said, it felt like a small letdown, but I was prepared to sacrifice that because I think it was exactly the right thing to do. Yeah, gray rocking her equals torture, exactly. Just giving her nothing, which is what she deserved after that. Carry on that was her defense.
It's like more technical in nature. We've talked about this, right? I mean, we're not so sure that your appeal is even going to happen, right? I mean, I think the judge was, I don't know. I mean, we'll see, right? But I think that the larger opportunity is probably going to be post-conviction relief.
Well, I'm rebuking Satan on that one because nobody has a crystal ball, and
That's the title of the episode, Rebuking Satan. So she's rebuking Satan on that one. I don't exactly know what that means, but okay. I know what rebuking Satan means, but I don't know what it means in that context.
The technicalities cannot be made up, and they are unjust, and they are actually against the law. So if they're going to charge me with it, they need to get charged also.
Gray rock takes a lot of practice. And Gemma's saying she's terrible at it. She needs to practice. It takes a lot of practice. It's not normal to treat people that way, right? And for people who have empathy, it's very difficult to just be like that, to treat someone like that, right? We're used to responding to people and reading them and having a connection and, having an interconnectedness, a give and take or whatever. And it's extremely uncomfortable to just be like that with someone. Like for a lot of us, it takes extreme anger to get us to the point that we can just shut down like that in the face of someone. But it's like any kind of habit. It gets easier the more you do it. But also don't mistake gray rock for a way to deal with narcissists and like keep them in your life and deal with them by using gray rock, because you can't, right? It's like a contingency plan for when you have no choice but to deal with a narcissist. It's not a plan for dealing with a narcissist long term. John Smith, gray rock is when you just give people nothing. You just don't give them anything to hook into. You give them no information about your life, no information about your emotional state. You just are gray rock. There's nothing for them to hook into. And it does take practice. It's not easy, but it's the best way to keep these people. They get bored very quickly, right? They thrive on chaos, and they thrive on undermining people's confidence and that kind of thing. So, yeah. And it's very difficult, right? Like it's not, and it's also not a healthy way to, it's a healthy way to deal with in the moment, stuff like that. But like, it's not normal to behave that way, right? So it's not something that you want to be like, oh, I'm in a relationship with a narcissist and I just use gray rock to deal with them, because eventually it will break down. You cannot be around a person like this on a regular basis and not be harmed by them. There's no way to do that, right? But if the more you practice gray rock, I promise you, it does get easier. But yeah, for people who have empathy and sort of pride themselves on being able to read people and being compassionate and caring about others, it can be a very challenging practice. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a little hot-headed myself, Jem. I can very much relate to that. Yeah, and as soon as you get upset, right, they're happy because that's what they want. And yeah, unless you want to act like a gray walk 24/7, exactly, which is what I'm saying, right? It's not a healthy way to interact, right? It's you do it out of necessity when you have no choice but to deal with a narcissist.
No, I hear you. Look, I'm in your corner. I think that you have a really strong case for appeal, but I also am not going to sugarcoat anything
So he's either a liar or he's an idiot. Either one of those things is very flattering.
with you. And I also know the statistics and how many appeals get granted. And there's a lot of politics in there. So
yeah, it's the politics that's going to stop her from having an appeal. It's very hard. I have tried to find redeeming character, something redeeming about all of this, about his behavior, and I just cannot condone the things that he did.
Nobody else has a case like mine either.
That's very, very true. And oh, by the way, what is going on with that? So, okay, so your appeal, have you heard anything about anybody getting appointed to your case? Any news?
No, I keep asking you, and I keep asking Nicole, and nobody sends me information. Like, I don't know what's been filed on the DC.
I keep asking you, and I keep asking Nicole, and everybody's just letting me down. How about, I don't know yet. I haven't received any information.
Yeah, nobody tells me. Because I've been asking.
God. It's 24/7 victim.
I just talked to you the other day about it. We looked it up together.
No, I don't think.
Kathy Benedero says, I gray rocked my ex. Best way to sever communication. Yeah, it makes them extremely uncomfortable too, right? Because for some reason, I assume it makes them aware that you're onto their shit, and that they are not succeeding in manipulating you, and it makes them really uncomfortable. And they don't want to be around you when you're acting like that, right? The more you act like that, it's narcissist repellent, right? They need your emotion and your reaction in order to survive, right? They need supply of some kind. Negative, positive, it doesn't matter, right? They need emotion from you. So, yes.
I think you got that far.
No, we did. I looked it up. I said there was nothing that I was seeing on the website.
Oh, then I must not have understood what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, we were on the phone and I looked it up. I remember. Hang on, I'll look it up again.
Like, that's another thing too, where I'm like, Nicole, man, just let me know. Like, I even reached out to my brother. He has to have surgery coming up here in the next couple of days, so like I haven't heard back from him.
Does he?
She's complaining that she hasn't heard from her brother because he has to have surgery.
Want to talk to me at all or no?
Probably not. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's upset with why I'm here because he knows who I am as a good person and a sister and a mother.
Yeah, but he also knows.
Who? Is it her brother she's talking about? Knows who she is? She's a good woman and a good mother and a good whatever? Are you kidding me? Carolina Hurtado says, James Owens and Sarah Boone's mistake was that they didn't know that Judge Kranick sat on the bench over hundreds of DV trials and he knows how to spot the abuser. There was no fooling him. Yeah, I mean, I think my feeling about James Owens is that he thought that he was going to be able to talk her into taking the plea deal. And then, yeah. Thank you for that, Jane Doe. Jane Doe says, title of her book, I Forgive You. Yeah. I Forgive You, Kentu Sukaroy. Yeah, it's the best way to deal with them. But yeah, Jem, I mean, you're still stuck in dealing with this person, right? Gray rock doesn't work when it's not a way to deal with someone that you're dealing with all the time. It's too hard. So
knows, like, I've been working with you for a year and I've been really.
Well, that's fine. When the time comes and you actually need to utilize him, that's fine, but don't spook him.
I won't spook anybody.
Well, I mean, he doesn't know the difference between a troll or not because he's been awful things texted to him and all this other stuff and email and phone calls and all this other stuff like you guys have gone through, and he doesn't want it either.
Join the club.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't want to do it. That's why I'm like, if you want to utilize him later down the road, super, but don't spook him right now.
I think she's talking about her brother. Yeah, spook him. Bit late for that, I think, Sarah.
I'm not.
Probably when the video came out, the suitcase video, when that came out, that's probably what spooked him.
I mean, I just think it would be nice to.
I'm sure he'll say something when the time comes for whatever it is we decide to do production-wise.
She keeps interrupting him every time he edited by Pacalize. Jane Doe, yeah, right. Every time he tries to say something, she keeps interrupting him. He literally can't get a sentence out.
But
You have 1 minute remaining.
To commiserate with and kind of start to try and get all our ducks in a row. Okay, wait, hang on a second. Okay, I'm looking. Okay, Boone. Okay, it's downloading. Nothing is up yet.
okay, thank you. Okay, I'm sending you all the 3 little things, and then please, God, format and send it, and I'll love you forever, and just thank you very much, and I'll touch base with you sometime this weekend.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, she did not love him forever.
I hope your friend's okay, and I'll be praying for both you guys.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, and I'll
Well, that must be a huge relief to him, hey, that she's praying for him. That must be great. Yeah, so that's the end of the phone call. But yeah, she's exhausting, eh? I just, oh God, she's the worst. So, where am I here? I will remove that. And I will add, oh, hang on. Sorry, spacing out over here. Let me get over here. Sorry. I'm struggling with my brains. Where is my mouse? There it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, share screen. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I thought we would now look at her appeal brief. Lotus Spider 7. Hello, nice to see you. Lotus Spider 7 says, sometimes I'm not sure if Peter was genuine. He seemed passive aggressive. Oh no, he wasn't genuine. He came out and said, if you go to the third rail page, Lotus Spider, there's an episode of the phone calls where he does or it's not the phone calls, but there's an episode where he reads out, or he has an AI voice read out the breakup letters between them. And it becomes very clear in that exchange that he was never genuine. He said he always knew she was a murderer. And they were basically trying to dupe her into, telling the truth that he actually, that she actually murdered George. Megan could coach Sarah. Yes, she probably could. I understand she's a very talented coach in her own mind. Okay, so here we go. My law knowledge is, very, very thin on the ground, so don't expect too much from me in that way. But so this is the appellant's initial brief on appeal from the circuit court in Fort Polk County, Florida. David Maldonado is the attorney for the appellant. So these are the 4 things that she's saying, the 4 appeal. What is the word I'm trying to come up with? you know what I mean? Her 4 reasons why she's saying she deserves an appeal, hoping one of them will fly. So the first one is the trial court erred in improperly limiting the appellant's opening statements regarding the overt act requirement. So if you remember, they had to have evidence of an overt act of violence or attempted violence towards her before they could bring in the battered spouse defense. And because he had ruled that they couldn't mention it in their opening statements because the overt act had to come up first before they could use that defense. So number 2, the trial court did not provide an adequate remedy to the appellant for the appellee's substantial discovery violation. I'm not sure what that's about, but obviously it's about a discovery violation. Number 3, erroneous jury instructions were provided on the initial aggressor exception to the self-defense rule. And number 4, the trial court improperly allowed the admission of the appellee's expert's opinion on an ultimate issue of fact. Okay, so preliminary statement. The record on appeal consists of 1 volume, and the record will be cited as R. Transcripts of the trial held on the matter will be cited as T. All other forms of citation shall be in accordance with the citation standards established in the Blue Book, a uniform system of citation. Questions presented: whether the appellant's opening statements were improperly limited, resulting in an inability to present a viable defense, whether the trial court erred in failing to adequately correct a substantial discovery violation by the appellee, whether the learned circuit court judge committed reversible errors with respect to the jury instructions, and whether the trial court improperly allowed the appellee's expert witness to draw a legal conclusion that was arguably to be determined by the jury. This statement of jurisdiction: this honorable court has jurisdiction to review the issues presented herein, etc. Statement of the case. This case commenced with an information being filed against the appellant on March 23rd, 2020, charging her with second-degree murder, which allegedly occurred on February 23rd, 2020. The incident giving rise to the information occurred on February 24th, 2020, when the appellant and the victim, her boyfriend, were sharing a bottle of wine, or 6, and decided to play hide and seek, wherein the appellant had gone upstairs in their apartment to hide. After the victim did not come to look for her, the appellant reportedly went back downstairs to discover the victim zipped up in a suitcase, and both parties were laughing as she finished zipping up the suitcase, and the victim purportedly was able to stick a few of his fingers outside of the suitcase as it was not zipped all the way. The appellant then went back upstairs in their apartment and fell asleep under the assumption that the victim could get himself out of the suitcase. The next morning, she woke up and did not see the victim until she went back downstairs to discover the victim had died in the suitcase, at which point she called her ex-husband, who in turn directed her to call 911. A search of the appellant's cell phone revealed 2 video recordings wherein the victim had exclaimed that he could not breathe, and the appellant replied, "Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me, and that's what I feel like when you cheat on me." According to the arrest affidavit for the appellant, the victim's autopsy revealed he had various injuries, and after investigating, detectives showed the video recordings to the appellant. With her denying any recollection of the videos, she was placed under arrest. After the information was filed and during the first few years of the instant case, the trial judge entered an order on June 28, 2024, highlighting the appellant's extreme difficulties with retaining defense counsels. That's a nice way to put it. The order revealed that the appellant had gone through 8 different counsels, and all counsels had moved to withdraw due to general irreconcilable differences with the appellant. Finding that the appellant was no longer entitled to counsel, the trial court found that she had forfeited the right to counsel. and her conduct forced her to proceed with the case pro se. Despite this significant setback, the appellant was able to obtain new counsel, James Owens, Esquire, who entered his appearance on her behalf on August 30th, 2024. Subsequently, after the appellant's new trial counsel entered his appearance, a flurry of motions and responses were filed between the parties. Trial on this matter began on October 14th, 2024, with jury selection, just like a year and a day before Lauren's 9-hour live. The trial on the matter began on 2024 with jury selection, and the trial court dealt with a large number of pretrial motions. The appellee's trial counsel had asked for a motion in limine to prevent the defense from positing a battered spouse syndrome defense theory. However, the trial judge issued a mixed ruling at that motion. While the court would not completely exclude the defense, the trial court did rule that the defense would need to lay a proper predicate before the defense expert would be allowed to address the battered spouse syndrome theory. So are people good with me just carrying on reading this? I mean, I don't mind. I just don't want to bore people to death. Hi, Batty McBatface. Nice to see you. Specifically as it relates to the appellee's motion in limine on the defense's battered spouse syndrome theory, the appellee's trial counsel referenced statements the appellant ostensibly made to the expert witnesses that would testify at trial that led to the appellee arguing there was no overt act that would allow the defense theory to come in. Recognizing the risk of error with its request, the appellee's trial counsel asserted that the impaneled jury should not hear about any prior instances of violence unless and until there is testimony that is self-defense that's recognized under the state of Florida's laws. A discussion between the defense counsel and the court then ensued about the defense's experts, Dr. Harper, the defense's expert's deposition previously taken, and what her opinion on the appellant's battered spouse syndrome was based on. The trial judge inquired as to what the overt act would be that would give rise to the appellant's self-defense theory, and the defense counsel responded that he was being put in the position now to disclose what our view of the overt act is. After disclosing the defense theory of the overt act, the trial ruled on the court as outlined in the preceding paragraph. Remember that? They didn't want to say it, so people are happy to have me reading it. Okay. I remember that. They were saying, you're giving away our whole defense. We have to give away our whole defense if we say that, him putting his hand out of the suitcase or whatever. They didn't want to even say that much. Okay, the trial court also denied the appellant's renewed motion for statement of particulars. After dealing with a number of motions, the trial court then conducted a Richardson hearing on a number of late disclosures that the defense objected to, and the trial judge found that any discovery violations by the appellee were inadvertent. After the jury was impaneled and before trial on the matter began, the appellee's trial counsel indicated to the court that there was an issue with the appellant attempting to use demonstrative aids during opening statements. The trial counsel referenced the court's initial ruling on the overt act issue to argue that certain photos of prior injuries to the appellant, ostensibly from the victim, and boards outlining laws on jury instructions should not be shown during the appellant's opening statements. I remember that. You remember that? They tried to put up all those pictures of Sarah all battered and bruised. After the court reviewed the proposed photos, the court agreed with the appellee and prohibited the appellant's counsel from using the demonstrative aids. I remember that. You like listening to my accent? I don't have an accent, Jim. That's a joke. Everybody thinks they don't have an accent. Cabby says, I don't blame the jurors for not talking, but I've always wondered what they thought of Sarah's testimony. Yeah, those photos. God. A little bit prejudicial, you think? Okay. The evidentiary portion of the trial on the matter began on October 18th, 2023, with several witnesses called by the appellee. Trial thereafter continued for several days with numerous witnesses and publication of various video evidence, including portions of videos taken from the appellant's phone, as well as detective interviews with the appellant before the appellee rested. After the trial judge denied the appellant's motion for judgment of acquittal, the appellant was called as a witness for her case. She testified generally about the incident in question, what led up to the victim's death, her fear of the victim as he was attempting to get out of the suitcase that he was zipped up in based on his prior acts of violence against her, and the aftermath after she discovered he had been deceased. Several additional witnesses testified for the appellant, and after the appellant rested her case, the appellee presented rebuttal testimony from Dr. Tanya Werner. Ooh, I just need a drink. Hang on. While testifying as to her 2.5-hour evaluation of the appellant, Dr. Werner opined that the appellant was not suffering from any post-traumatic stress disorder that could lead to battered spouse syndrome, and the appellant's counsel objected. A very lengthy discussion ensued between the counsels and the court as the appellant's counsel claimed a discovery violation, pointing out that Dr. Werner had previously claimed during a deposition that she had a different opinion and diagnosis of the appellant than what was now being offered at trial. The trial judge acknowledged the different opinion rendered at trial. Yeah, I remember that too. That was super annoying. Like, what the hell? God, who does that? Jesus. In response to the alleged discovery violation, the court decided to conduct a Richardson hearing, and after considering argument, the judge decided to allow the appellant to conduct an in-camera deposition, excuse me, acknowledging that the discovery violation was substantial and had some impact on the ability of the appellant to properly prepare for trial. So maddening. Do you remember that? God. During questioning from the appellant's counsel, Dr. Werner claimed that she had not previously disclosed her opinion on the appellant during the initial deposition because the appellant's counsel didn't specifically ask her about that. After the appellant's questioning concluded, the trial judge observed, "This is your opportunity and your only opportunity to cure any prejudice." In response, the appellant's counsel protested that he was forced to take the deposition on the fly and he was put in a very difficult situation, but the judge again reiterated that he was giving the appellant an opportunity to cure the Richardson issue. Again, and later in the courtroom deposition, the appellee's expert revealed that her opinion had changed from the time of the initial deposition to the day of the trial, namely her opinion that the appellant did not suffer from any type of anxiety or adjustment disorder. How's it going over here in the chat? How's everybody doing? Liza Lou says Sarah went upstairs to hide in the shower, and George supposedly thought he was going to hide in a suitcase. Yeah. Yeah, the bat, Sketty Nona. The bat, and the testimony from the neighbors of the crashing, smashing, bashing down the stairs. After the parties went over the jury instructions, the court provided those instructions to the jury, and both parties presented closing arguments prior to jury deliberations. Oh, hang on, I missed some. Sorry. After I'm back up here. After the appellee's rebuttal and publication of numerous videos, audio, and other evidence, the parties and the court began discussing the jury instructions. An extended argument for both parties took place with respect to the 3.6 F instruction as it related to an initial aggressor duty to retreat issue. But the court ultimately sided with the appellee and included a special instruction. After the parties went over the jury instructions, the court provided those instructions to the jury, and both parties presented closing arguments prior to jury deliberations. The jury ultimately found the appellant guilty of second-degree murder, and the trial judge thereafter issued sentenced her to life in prison. The notice of appeal was thereafter timely filed on December 8th, 2024. Anyway, I'm just going to keep reading. Summary of the argument. The appellant respectfully submits that the learned trial judge committed the black robe disease trial judge, that one? That the learned trial judge committed a number of errors throughout the trial proceedings, which ultimately prejudiced the appellant's ability to present a viable defense and prejudiced her trial counsel's ability to adequately prepare for trial. Improper limitations were placed on the appellant's counsel's opening statements, which prevented the appellant from properly framing an adequate defense to present to the jury. Florida courts have held that opening statements can be a critical opportunity to frame a case, and that unduly limiting these statements can prejudice a jury's understanding of a theory of defense. Additionally, substantial discovery violations occurred that were revealed during trial, and the trial court judge essentially allowed a trial by ambush against the appellant. Consequently, the judgment and sentence should be reversed. Statement of preservation. In accordance with this honorable court's administrative order, the appellant respectfully asserts that the various issues raised in this initial brief were brought before the trial court with contemporaneous objections and arguments between the parties during trial as outlined below. Okay, I'm not reading all of those. Okay, argument. The trial court erred in improperly limiting the appellant's opening statements regarding the overt act requirement. One dispositive issue before this honorable court is whether the trial court erred in placing limitations on the appellant's opening statements. Are people still enjoying this? Cappy says, Sarah spent so much time arguing that the neighbors couldn't know that the crashing was the same day that George died, but of course they'd remember the whole investigation the next day. Yeah, no kidding, right? Makes you think that there was so much crashing and smashing going on in their apartment that she thinks they might have just confused the dates or something. So the trial court ruled that the appellant could not introduce evidence of the victim's prior violence to frame a battered spouse syndrome context, and thus forced the appellant to provide a limited opening statement that did not properly frame the appellant's theory of defense for the jury. This arguably violated the appellant's right to present a complete defense, and this error, in conjunction with the other errors discussed herein, warrant reversal of the judgment and sentence with remand for a new trial. Generally, the purpose of opening statements is to outline what a party in good faith expects to establish during trial. See Perez v. State. Wide latitude is usually allowed with opening statements, and a trial court's limitations on such statements will be upheld if there is no abuse of discretion. Thomas v. State. Concerning a self-defense claim, as the appellant asserted in this case, a defendant must show evidence of an overt act by the victim that showed a need for the defendant to exercise self-defense. Holland v. State. In the case at bar, the appellant asserts that the trial court unreasonably restricted her counsel's ability to frame her defense for the jury during opening statements. The trial court ruled that the defense could not introduce evidence of the victim's prior violence, battered spouse syndrome context, until an overt act of aggression by the victim on the day of the incident was established. This ruling forced the defense to present a naked opening statement, preventing them from showing photographs of the appellant's injuries or fully explaining why she acted in self-defense until late in the trial. She didn't have any injuries at the time, though, right? This arguably violated the appellant's right to present a complete defense and properly frame the case for the jury. The trial court ruled you can talk about it, that the appellant was a victim. You can talk about some incidences that may have happened, but I'm not going to allow the photographs at this point in time. For your utilization of them in the opening statements, the trial court strictly applied the overt act requirements to opening statements, ruling, assuming that overt act hurdle is not met, the evidence was excluded. The appellant avers that while the aforementioned Holland v. State case and related progeny require an overt act for deadly force justification, the trial court extended this evidentiary rule to opening statements, preventing the appellant's defense counsel from laying foundational context in opening statements for the jury. Prior violence from the victim creating reasonable fear in the appellant. This limitation imposed by the trial court was improper and an abuse of discretion, as the trial court tried to place an evidentiary limitation on the opening statements. As the Florida Supreme Court observed, opening remarks are not evidence, and the purpose of opening argument is to outline what an attorney expects to be established by the evidence. Achicone versus v. State. Thus, prohibiting photographs of the appellant's injuries and full explanation of abuse history left the jury without context for the appellant's actions, forcing a delayed presentation of the defense theory. In a case hinging on self-defense and the battered spouse syndrome, this likely affected jury perception and was not harmless. I mean, maybe, but I mean, once everybody saw the video, honestly, right? I mean, even if she gets another trial, even if they had been able to talk about battered spouse syndrome in the opening statements, I really don't see there being a different outcome. Okay, number 2, the trial court did not provide an adequate remedy to the appellant for the appellee's substantial discovery violation. After another substantial erroneous ruling occurred during the trial when the appellee's expert witness crucially changed her opinion against the appellant in the middle of the trial, thus resulting in a trial by ambush against the appellant. During a pretrial deposition of the appellee's expert witness, that witness indicated she did not have any opinion on the diagnosis of the appellant. However, at trial, the witness then claimed that the appellant did not give me enough information to diagnose her with post-traumatic stress disorder. Although the trial court recognized the substantial change in the witness's testimony from what she had initially stated in the deposition, the learned judge only allowed an on-the-fly deposition in the middle of the trial to ostensibly correct the prejudice suffered by the appellant. The appellant respectfully submits that this prejudice was not substantially remedied by the deposition, and at minimum, the trial should have been continued to allow the prejudice to be adequately addressed. Rule 3220 of the Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure generally governs discovery processes and requirements in any criminal proceeding. Under this rule, depositions of witnesses are allowed and parties are under a continuing duty to disclose additional witnesses or material that materially alter a written or recorded statement previously provided under these rules. If a party is alleged to have violated this rule, then a court will conduct a Richardson hearing under the case of Richardson v. State. In cases dealing with a state violation of the discovery rule, the court will consider questions such as whether the state's violation was inadvertent or willful, whether the violation was trivial or substantial, and most importantly, what effect, if any, did it have upon the ability of the defendant to properly prepare for trial. Richardson v. State. If the record shows that such a violation resulted in prejudice or harm to a defendant, then reversal may be justified. So sorry, I'm not really keeping up with the chat here. It's too hard to do both. So here the defense argued the appellee's expert witness offered new opinions at trial regarding the appellant's diagnosis, adjustment disorder versus anxiety, and the lack of PTSD criteria that were not disclosed in her deposition. This constituted a trial by ambush. The trial court found the violation was substantial, but denied the motion to strike or dismiss, instead allowing a mid-trial deposition. The mid-trial deposition remedy was inadequate because the new opinions, e.g. shifting from adjustment disorder to no PTSD criteria, impacting self-defense battered spouse syndrome, came on a central issue after the appellant's counsel had prepared cross-examined based on the deposition. Under Richardson, the court must assess prejudice and whether the remedy cures the ability to prepare. Surprise on expert opinions central to the defense often requires exclusion or mistrial, not just a belated deposition. This is sounding kind of convincing. In this present case, the appellant submits that the discovery violation was quite prejudicial and a mid-trial deposition was inadequate to correct the damage to the appellant's defense theory. As the 4th District Court of Appeals has pointed out, if the reviewing court finds that there is a reasonable possibility that the discovery violation prejudiced the defense, or if the record is insufficient to determine that the defense was not materially affected, the error must be considered harmful. McDonald v. State emphasis added. As the jury was already exposed to the witness's change in testimony, the mid-trial deposition did not cure the surprise elicited by the change, and thus the deposition did not cure the harm to the appellant. While the trial court relied on the 3rd District Court of Appeals case of State v. Denninghoff in refusing to strike the witness or dismiss the case, the appellant submits the Denninghoff case is distinguishable. In Denninghoff, the state appealed a dismissal of the defendant's charges based on a state discovery violation in not turning over a report to the defense. During trial, a deputy testified on behalf of the state and referenced a report he had written that the defense was not provided a copy of. After the trial, the judge conducted a Richardson hearing. The judge dismissed the charges based on the state's failure to disclose that report, even though the state had offered to strike that officer's entire testimony. In reversing the decision, the appellate court noted that the excluded report did not contain any contradictory information not contained in the other report that had been disclosed, and thus the prejudice to the defense was minimal. Here, the appellant respectfully submits that the prejudice was much more substantial inasmuch as the appellee's expert witness essentially rendered a completely different opinion during testimony than what she had stated during pretrial deposition. As opposed to the Denninghoff case that merely involved a misdemeanor DUI charge, the appellant here faced a substantial life felony, second-degree murder, and premised her defense on the self-defense theory of battered spouse syndrome, where an expert wholly crushes that theory unexpectedly mid-trial and without disclosure from the appellee. The prejudice here is much more harmful, and thus a mere deposition did not cure the harm. Oh my God, are people buying this? Because I'm feeling like it's kind of convincing. Honestly, where's my thing? Carolina says, it blows my mind how Sarah always told the officers that she only had 2 drinks and 1 bottle of wine on that day. Yeah, right? Plus a handle of vodka is in my opinion. Yeah, she's a nut. Okay, so I am having a desperate need to visit the little girl's room, so you guys are just going to have to carry on without me for a few seconds while I go do that. I will be right back. Sorry about that. Whew, sorry about that. I've had lots of water to drink today. Okay, so is everybody still good? Are people still having a good time here? She is right where she belongs in her forever home. Yeah, I'm just a little worried that sounded that whole I remember that in the case when that happened. My God, when that witness changed her testimony, the expert witness. Oof. Jesus, I thought they were going to have a mistrial right then. Anyway, okay, we'll carry on here. We are on page 22 and it goes to page 30, so nearly done. So number 3, erroneous jury instructions were provided on the initial aggressor exception to the self-defense rule. Another dispositive issue is whether the learned trial judge erred in allowing a special instruction pertaining to the appellant's self-defense theory. The trial court ultimately agreed to the appellee's request to include the initial aggressor jury instruction, which negates the right to self-defense if the appellant was committing a forcible felony. In allowing the special instruction, the trial court essentially directed a verdict against the appellant's self-defense claim and thus committed reversible error. Yikes, that doesn't sound good. During jury instruction review, a disagreement arose between the parties with respect to the 3.6F instruction involving the appellant's right to self-defense or duty to retreat. In essence, the proposed instruction read, if at the time Sarah Boone used deadly force, she was committing an aggravated assault, or if at the time Sarah Boone used the deadly force, she was not in a place where she had the right to be, then the defendant had a duty to retreat. While the appellant's counsel objected to the aggravated assault language because she had not been charged with that in the information, the appellee argued that her actions constituted aggravated assault with zipping up the suitcase, exerting force through distance, and putting the victim in fear of death. The appellee's counsel also notably indicated that he would have charged the appellant with aggravated assault and battery if he could, were it not for the statute of limitations had passed. In response, the appellant's counsel maintained that Martinez v. State allowed an initial aggressor exception in for jury instructions only under two scenarios, either where an independent forcible felony was charged or felony murder was charged, and that had not been done in the instant case. The appellant's counsel rightly pointed out that she had not been charged with an independent forcible felony, and thus the special instruction was improper. Come on up on the bed. Oh, I know, but it'll be soon. Come on up. There you go. That's a good boy. Apples is bored. I don't blame him. It's very nice outside. So both parties disagreed as to the applicability of the Martinez v. State holding in the instant case. In Martinez v. State, the appellant was charged with both attempted premeditated murder and aggravated battery after stabbing his girlfriend. Notably, the appellant did not object to a jury instruction that included an exception to the appellant's self-defense claim if he was attempting to committing, or escaping after the commission of an attempted murder and or aggravated battery. After conviction and on appeal, the appellee argued that the Florida statute allowing the special instruction did not require an independent forcible felony charge before allowing the forcible felony instruction to apply. However, the Florida Supreme Court disagreed, holding that this circular logic would most probably confuse jurors because the apparent result is that the instruction precludes a finding of self-defense and amounts to a directed verdict on the affirmative defense. Geez, I mean, at least these guys did their homework. I gotta give it to them. This is a vigorous defense here. In the case at the bar, the appellee argued that the aggravated assault, zipping the suitcase, was a separate forcible felony from the murder, justifying the instruction. The appellant's counsel objected, citing Martinez. The trial court allowed the instruction, modifying it to read, however, the use of deadly force is not justified if you find that Sarah Boone used force to initially provoke. This instruction permitted the jury to reject self-defense solely because they believed she assaulted the victim by trapping him, which is the exact circularity Martinez prohibits. The charged conduct, trapping the victim in the suitcase leading to death, makes the aggravated assault integral to the Homicide Act, not independent, rendering the initial aggressor forcible felony exception inapplicable and the instruction erroneous under Martinez v. State. Thus, the appellant asserts this harmful error constitutes reversal of the judgment and sentence and remand for a new trial. They do get an A for effort. I mean, I'm not obviously, I don't know how all of this is going to play out, but I don't think that Sarah can complain that they didn't do a good job of trying. I really think that expert witness one might hold some water. Okay, so number 4, the trial court improperly allowed the admission of the appellee's expert's opinion on the ultimate issue of fact. Another error occurred during the trial when the trial judge improperly allowed the appellee's expert witness to opine that the appellant was not in imminent fear at the time of the incident in question. Such an opinion infringed upon the jury's role to be the ultimate trier of fact as to whether the appellant was in fact in imminent fear, and the opinion ultimately was an improper legal conclusion which negated the appellant's self-defense theory. By allowing the expert to state it's not imminent fear, the witness usurped the jury's role as the sole trier of fact regarding the reasonableness of the appellant's fear. As a general rule, the admission and scope of expert testimony rests within the broad discretion of the trial court. Schneer v. Allstate Indemnity Company. Indeed, an expert opinion does not become objectionable merely because it includes an ultimate issue to be decided by the trier of fact. At the same time, witnesses will be prevented from expressing their conclusions when the opinion only tells the jury how to decide the case and does not help the jury to determine what occurred. During testimony from the appellee's expert, Dr. Werner, she opined that the circumstances surrounding the incident just prior to the victim's death suggested that the appellant was not in fear of imminent risk or harm. The appellant's counsel properly objected to the testimony, pointing out that the expert was drawing a legal conclusion that had to be left to the jury, and an extended argument thereafter ensued between the parties on whether the testimony was an improper legal opinion under Section 90.703 of the Florida statutes. The trial court ultimately ruled for the appellee and found that the provided testimony was not an ultimate issue of fact under the relevant evidentiary statute, and also relied on a case citation to overrule the appellant's objection. In essence, with this ruling, the trial court allowed the expert to sway the jury precisely as the Third District Court ruled was improper in the aforecited Schneer case. The expert's opinion was improper because it directly applied the legal standard for self-defense, reasonable belief in imminent danger of death, great bodily harm, to the facts, effectively telling the jury to reject the defense posited by the appellant's defense team. The testimony went to the core of the appellant's self-defense theory, i.e. the imminent fear that the victim was about to harm her, and is clear the opinion influenced by the jury and it's clear the opinion influenced the jury by way of the guilty verdict. Thus, it cannot be said that the omission of this opinion was harmless. Conclusion: for the foregoing reasons, the appellant respectfully requests from the subject judgment and sentence that the subject judgment and sentence be reversed. It is evident that a number of errors were committed from the outset of the trial and throughout the trial that prejudiced the appellant's ability to viably present her defense theory. As the trial judge improperly limited the appellant's opening statements, she was unable to properly frame her defense to the jury from the outset. While the trial judge properly conducted a Richardson hearing to address the appellee's discovery violation with respect to their expert changing her testimony from a pretrial deposition, the trial court's remedy was inadequate as the defense team was unable to adequately prepare for the change in opinion. Erroneous jury instructions further prejudiced the appellant in violation of germane Florida case law, and the trial judge further allowed the appellee's expert legal conclusion testimony to taint the jury against the appellant's valid defense. In light of the foregoing, the subject judgment and sentence should be reversed. Certificate of service, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Well, what do people think? Pretty scary, eh? Yeah, so that's that. Thank you all for listening. Are people still wanting to hear? Oh yeah, we got a bit of time, eh? Fill the Air says Kranick was consistently asking her if she was pleased either with attorneys and the strategy of her defense, and she always answered yes, but I guess these are separate issues. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, let's do the, okay, so this is going to take a little bit of organizing on my behalf here. So remove that. So I don't have access to these. I thought you could just get these documents, but for some reason the criminal ones are anybody can get them, and the family court ones not. So you have to make an account with the Orange County clerk, and then you have to actually mail in your application. So what I did to get these was I went over to Suma's video and I took screenshots. So shout out to Suma Cum Loudmouth, because it is she. Oops, I've got these in the wrong order. Oh, no. Oh, it's going to take me a little minute. Anyways, yeah, Suma did a reading of it and everything, so I snagged some screenshots from her. So thanking her for that. So here we go. So this is the motion for judicial motion for, this is in the family case for everybody who's just joining us. Motion for judicial clarification and or rehearing regarding alimony arrears stated in the supplemental final judgment. Comes now pro se respondent Sarah K. Boone, pursuant to Florida Rule of Civil Procedure, blah, blah, and respectfully moves this honorable court for judicial clarification and or rehearing regarding alimony arrears stated in the supplemental final judgment. In support of this motion, the respondent states, on April 7th, 2026, this court entered its supplemental final judgment in this matter after the trial was held on August 25th, 2025. 2. In the supplemental final judgment, the court states alimony was not paid by the petitioner to the respondent during the time period of February 2020, date of respondent's incarceration, to April 2022, date of petitioner's modification filing. 3. Both parties acknowledged in their closing arguments submitted to the court there are 26 months of unpaid alimony by the petitioner. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of these and I got them. They're not all in order. Okay. 4. Missed monthly alimony payments were granted by this court to be enforced in the amount of $1,000 per month. Page 11, paragraph 44. 5. Based on the aforementioned data, the average amount should equal 26. The arrearage amount should equal 26,000. 1,000 times 26 months. Number 6, in the supplemental final judgment, the monthly total reflects only 15 months of arrears are owed, equaling 15,000. Page 10, paragraph 41. Number 7, this creates a clear inconsistency within the judgment as the number of months found by the court does not align with the arrearage amount awarded. The discrepancies throughout appear to be the result this is number 8, sorry. The discrepancies throughout appear to be the result of mathematical or inadvertent errors which materially affect the proper outcome of this case and result overall in prejudice to the respondent. Number 9, judicial clarification and or correction of alimony arrears stated in the supplemental final judgment is necessary to ensure lawful accuracy, and final resolution in this matter. Wherefore, pro se respondent Sarah K. Boone respectfully requests this honorable court to, hang on, I gotta drink this. A, grant a rehearing regarding the necessary clarification of alimony arrears to be awarded to the respondent by the petitioner as stated in the supplemental trial judgment. B, in the event the court determines the correct arrearage amount to be awarded is in fact $26,000, amend any and all appropriate sections of the supplemental final judgment necessary to accurately reflect the corrected time and dollar amount, including the adjusted total amount to be awarded and paid to the respondent by the petitioner, or alternately C, clarify the basis for the proposed $15,000 for 15 months as stated. D, grant such further relief as this honorable court deems just and proper. Respectfully submitted this 16th day of April 2026. And the rest is the certificate of service. So I have a couple others. Hang on. Let me, these are again, shout out to Suma, because I nicked these from her page, but she's showing here in the motion for contempt. So this was Brian's, or this is Sarah's, the motion for contempt was Sarah. She was wanting to hold Brian in contempt. And so the yellow part here, the highlighted part, says the petitioner acknowledges that he did not pay $15,000 in alimony for 15 months between respondent's arrest and the filing of this modification petition. And the reason that she was showing us that is because all of this has been stipulated to by Sarah. So if she had a problem with that amount, she should have said so after this, not after it's all been decided. So I think that the point that she is making, that Suma's making, is that this has already been, she's already agreed to all of this. So she, I mean, I'm no lawyer, so don't look at me for the law, but it does seem like a pretty good argument. And then this last one is here is, it says, as such, petitioner's motion for contempt is denied as to contempt, but granted as to enforcement of petitioner's $1,000 alimony obligation for the 15 months prior to the filing of the modification petition for a total of $15,000. So basically, the point of these is that, yeah, she has already stipulated to this. So, yes, Suma is awesome. I'm a big fan. So you guys should go over and listen to her video too, because she does a good job of it. And she has like an encyclopedic knowledge of Sarah Boone and her Boonefoolery. So she's the person to talk to. But yeah, so that's all things Sarah Boone. We are now up to date. If anybody is still here listening, I am extremely grateful for your careful attention to all of that, because wow, it feels like it was really long. Yeah. Carolina Hurtado, are you still here? What are you saying over here? She's saying, hang on. Carolina Hurtado says, in my opinion, her FM, I think her friend, Australia, Nicole, keeps Sarah updated on everything happening on the YouTube. She's the only one left. Yeah. I mean, I think, there was a time when Sarah thought that, then when she hated us YouTubers, right? But now I think she's going to be missing all the attention, right? So yeah. Hopefully Nicole did. I mean, people eventually, they always do, right? I mean, there's very few people that will be ride or dies with these types of narcissists because they're just too hard to take. Thanks, Phil. I appreciate you listening. Yeah, I am. I'm a little concerned, actually. Honestly, I am a little concerned about that. The expert testimony one feels like she might have something there. I don't know. I very much hope I am wrong. I certainly don't want George's family to have to go through all of this again, the way that Letitia Stoke is putting Al Stoke and Landon. Is that Landon's Gannon's mom? So yeah, she's putting them all through her nonsense again. And I'm very curious to see what kind of a defense she's going to come up with this time, right? Because there's no law that says that she has to use the same defense, right? Is there? I don't think so, right? And since the dissociative identity disorder defense didn't work, she has a shot at another one. She has the whole Pacific Ocean between herself and Sarah. Yeah, she sure does, and still, is it the Pacific? Isn't Florida on the Atlantic Ocean? What's this? What's that? What's that one, boss lady? Fingers crossed it gets rejected. She doesn't deserve a new trial. No, she doesn't deserve a new trial. It would just be a nightmare for the family. Absolute torture. I mean, I don't know. Oh, the link to Suma. Oh, thank you. That's the link to Suma, you guys. Yeah, please, thank you for doing that, boss lady. I appreciate that. I should have put it in the description. Anyway, I think I am going to call it a day. Yeah, it's 2 hours. Apples is ready. Oh, he's gone back to sleep. He's such a good little boy, but he needs a little walk before dinner, and I have to actually cook his food. So, oh God, I was listening today for when I was out walking the dog. I was listening to like a little documentary of the whole Letitia Stout story, and my God, right? Oh my God. Ugh, these people, they shock the conscience. Thanks, Bill. Good night. And thanks again for coming. So, yeah, I shall love you and leave you. Thanks again, boss lady. Always a pleasure. And I will be either back tomorrow. I have one scheduled for tomorrow, but I may postpone it till Friday. I'm not sure yet, but I'm gonna do. There's some very interesting stuff coming out about Trisha. She is continuing to act like a complete loon. So Thursday. So yeah, my next video, I'm gonna do the second field trip to Beth B's house, and just go over some of the more recent stuff that's come out about Trisha, who is currently having a meltdown over Beth B's obituary. So thank you all for coming. I will look forward to seeing you next time. And yeah, till then, goodbye.